The 17th November 2025 marks the 75th anniversary of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's political power assumption. To mark this occasion, the 108 Peace Institute is coming up with a podcast platform. To begin this podcast, we have a very special guest who actually took this very iconic picture of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's arrival in Tezpur in 1959. So let us just revisit that moment and talk more about how he captured that moment and how he covered His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's arrival in India. Just go and meet Prem Prakash, who is 95 years old and the chairman of Asia News International, that is ANI. So thank you so much for giving us this wonderful time, and it really means a lot to us. You are now 95 years old, but your 5th book is coming up. So that is a really great news for many of us. But so now, can you just take us back to 1959, when His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama arrived in India, and you covered the arrival of His Holiness.
You see, it's not only that, it is the first news came of the uprising in Tibet.
Yes, sir.
And uprising in Tibet, and then some Tibetan people started, particularly Khampas, coming in via Sikkim. And at that time, Sikkim was the month of, even though March, it was frozen, but I went up to Lake Changu and covered the arrival of these people coming in, because from Delhi, a competitor had made a very wrong story by taking, there are a lot of Tibetan shops in Delhi. They were always there in India because our relations with Tibet have been very friendly.
So back in 1950s.
So our relations have been very friendly with Tibet. People of Tibet have always come here to do business. And on Janpat, there are a lot of Tibet shops, now less, but at that time they were all Tibetan shops. So he took some of these people to the ridge in Delhi and made them cross as though they were crossing into India from there. It was a bogus story. So I had to go there to prove that the story done by opposition was wrong. This is it. This is where the thing is. And not only that, and then of course followed the long thing, Dalai Lama's how Dalai Lama started. We all knew. I was waiting in Sikkim only when the political agent told me, Prem, no use waiting here. You better go to Shillong at the moment, because it will take time, because that will be the right place for you to wait. So I'm telling you all these because these are very strange things. So I came to Shillong and I stayed in what was known as Planters Hotel, because there used to be a lot of tree planters who were Englishmen, and they had a hotel in Shillong. I stayed there, and there was an Englishman journalist. He was reading the book of the flight of earlier Dalai Lama from Tibet. He kept on reading that every day to his editor, as though he's covering the live escape of Dalai Lama. So all kinds of things were happening at that time, but we stuck to honesty and the thing. Then we heard that now he's nearing, so I went down to Tezpur and I hired a special plane from Calcutta so that we could fly the footage. Those days there was no satellite and so on.
Yes.
Footage quickly to the whole world was waiting to see whether Dalai Lama is alive, arrived, and so on and so forth. So that was the Tezpur. Luckily, during the World War II, Americans had built a lot of runways to defend Northeast India. So that runway was there, so the plane could land there. And then the opposition also brought a plane to parked it there. And as I came to know when the Dalai Lama would be arriving, First of all, he arrived in up there in Tawang. That was, I think, on 31st March.
31st March 1959.
31st March 1959. And then he came down to plains of Tezpur at the foothills. That's where we were all covered. I covered him there. Well shot the film. And also statement from his whoever spoke on his behalf about their journey and so on. And then we rushed to the plane and to go to Calcutta. There the opposition's plane also took off at the same time, but actually a few minutes before us. So we were both racing up there in the sky, and we could see from the sky that the plane landed in Calcutta. So, well, I was not bothered because mine was television film, but we had Reuters still photographer with us. So he was actually worried that in case he has lost the competition, and also an AP photographer was there. So we were there. So we landed there, and what the opposition had done, they had virtually blocked the sending of the photograph by putting number of photographs. Those days systems were very little, there was not much use. So each photograph being sent abroad by that system used to take 20 minutes, 15 minutes like that, you know. So anyway, we were about 3 hours late. But 3 hours late, when we sent our pictures and also AP, and those pictures were released, suddenly the query came, how come the opposition's Dalai Lama has a beard or something, they said. I said, well, this is a real picture, this is a honest picture. That was the end of those people. Virtual career finished. They lost a lot of subscribers because this is a very important story. Yes. And to send a bogus item cost them very heavily. So that's how we covered it. And but it was a memory for me in the sense that as I mentioned to you about Shillong and other places. So what the various people do, what all kinds of people do, and it all worked out well. And after that, we went to Mussoorie, because His Holiness then went to Mussoorie, and there he also spoke. He spoke, or his somebody spoke on his behalf, and we covered there. After that, he stayed there for a while and then went for Dharamshala.
Sir, I'm so sorry to interrupt. So when you say opposition, what do you mean by?
Opposition means that, for example, I am Viz News. Opposition was UPI, UPITN.
So the competitor.
Competitor.
Okay.
That's opposition.
So, sir, I was listening to Prem Prakash the other day, and she said that a journalist from AP News sent a mistaken picture of His Holiness the Dalai Lama with a beard.
Yeah.
At that time, people didn't recognize His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama because he had entourage. There were many monks along with him. Yeah,
I just mentioned to you.
Yes, sir.
So our picture was the honest picture.
Yes. So, sir, how did you recognize His Holiness the Dalai Lama?
Because, come on, who wouldn't recognize him? You have to be a bloody fool if not to recognize him. And this guy had come from, he was an American, he had come from Tokyo, I think, and he thought, as Americans think that they can quickly do everything and it will be okay. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You have to be very quiet, you have to consider, think, and know every subject before you do it. So that's how he lost it.
Sir, you said that His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama spoke at Tezpur. If I'm not mistaken, it was actually about a press conference regarding repudiating the 17-point agreement. We normally see that picture. There's a very a stage where His Holiness speaks from the top. So is that what you are referring to?
Yeah, yeah.
And sir, what was your impression of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama back then? He was barely 24 years old.
He was as young as I was, I think, or younger than me. And yes, how should I describe? He was a very saintly figure, very clear, very well spoken. You can't really describe the way he speaks, the way he blesses you. So that's how I remember him.
And sir, you covered His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's arrival in India. Now he turned 90 years old this year. And on 2nd of July, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama said that his institution will continue. So throughout your career as a journalist, and you have definitely covered His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama extensively. So how would you describe His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama to our audience?
He is the holiest holy person that I have ever seen. He is so soft-spoken, so clear-minded. I have not heard any other saint. I mean, there are lots of saints in India. You know, this is a land of multi-religions and so on. But this is also the reason that India's people love His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Remember that. It wasn't just the government's political decision to welcome him. India's people would have gone angry on the government if they had not welcomed him. India's people love him. India's people respect him. India's people know that he is a holy man. And this has been for centuries, nothing new. Nothing new. You must know that.
And sir, you said you went to Missouri. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, went to Missouri to meet His Holiness.
Yes, yes.
So you were there?
Yes, of course I was there.
So you also covered that meeting.
that
So tell us about that meeting.
Yeah, but that was a simple meeting in the sense that you are given the chance to cover the two of them and then you are asked to get out. So anyway, I covered the two of them and Panditji met him very warmly. Remember, Panditji was very fond of him. Jawaharlal Nehru was very fond of him. I will tell you another story. This is towards the end of Pandit Nehru's career. 1962 war broke him with China. He should have understood what they did to Dalai Lama, but then remember he had promised Dalai Lama. He was supposed to go to Lhasa and Chou Enlai was supposed to be present there. That was, I think, in 1959 only, or late 50, but I may be wrong in my date. But at that time, they suddenly said, the Chinese general in Lhasa said, use the plea, because lot of Tibetans were converging in Lhasa, because India's Prime Minister was coming there. And to them, to the people of Tibet, even today I think, India's Prime Minister is a highly respected figure. A highly respected figure. So they were all coming to see him. The Chinese general used that as a plea to cancel that meeting of Panditji arriving in Lhasa.
Sir, had Pandit Nehru visited Lhasa, would the situation have been different today?
I don't think so. You see, Chinese are very close people, they are very wicked people. I mean, I'm using the words, very strong word, wicked, in the sense that you can really not know when they talk to you what exactly do they mean. They may be saying something which they understand fully. You may understand it differently. And then they will turn around and, I never said that. I meant this. So, I don't think a situation would have been any different. But the reason Panditji was to go there, because when Dalai Lama first came to India on the 2500th anniversary of Buddha's attaining enlightenment,
Yes.
he was not going to go back. He told Panditji what's happening there, and my going back there is not going to help me. So Panditji said, I will take care. Chou Enlai arrived from Beijing to meet Panditji and tell him that no harm will be done to him, and that you can assure him. He says, no, you assure him in my presence, and I will then request him. That is when they agreed that Panditji will travel to Lhasa, and Chou Enlai would also come there, and everything would be okay. We will respect Tibet's autonomy and so on, which Chinese never meant to do that. As I've just told you, when Chinese talk, you should be very careful listening to them, because they say something and they mean something else.
Yes. So this is exactly what is happening in today's time.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going back to 1959 again.
Yeah.
So I also learned that you were the first to broke the news of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's arrival in Tezpur.
Yes.
So we have seen all the video that we have today.
Ah.
So you have taken that video, right, sir?
Yes, yes.
And so when you look back, how do you think that video can play a very important role in Tibet's history?
You see, in the sense, history, if it is history, if some visual is available, it authenticates that history. If visual is not available, then you can't authenticate it. It's all there to authenticate that this is there, this is true, this has happened.
And so you said at the beginning that the people of India wished to have His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama in India back then. How was the reaction from the government of India when they heard that His Holiness was fleeing Tibet?
As I said to you, first of all, Panditji had assured him that India's people will always be for you. Don't worry about that. So as far as India's people are concerned, they are happy to have him among them. He is the holiest of holy man in India today. So what can I tell you more?
Yes, sir. And so I also came to know that you met all the prime ministers, right from Nehru to Prime Minister Modi.
That is part of how I covered Dalai Lama's arrival also.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what if I ask this question, which prime minister do you think has done more to the cause of Tibet?
You see, no Prime Minister of India can do any damage to Tibet. No Prime Minister of India can do anything wrong if he wishes to stay in power. Even if a Prime Minister of India wants to make some friendship with China, which the present Prime Minister was hoping to, but when it comes to His Holiness and all the rest, they cannot ignore the people of India, because then he loses. Remember that.
And so this is a very interesting question. You were there in 1950s. way before China occupied Tibet. So how was the border situation between India and Tibet back then?
See, this is something with which there is a lot of criticism of Pandit Nehru in India. That has nothing to do with Tibet. Tibet was a very peaceful country, so therefore we had no problem. But Tibet's border with India was well defined by General Zorawar Singh. General Zorawar Singh of Ranjit Singh, he had gone to Tibet. And when the agreement was made with Tibet, proper stones were placed defining the border between Tibet and India. Now, because it was a peaceful border, it was nobody bothered about sending patrols or so on and so forth, or having military presence there. The criticism of Nehru, Panditji, was on that score, that when Chinese managed to build that road in Aksai Chin, India came to a shock. India didn't know it. It was seen in a magazine. And when the Indian ambassador went to meet the Prime Minister, he said, "But where were Indians?" Good question by him. And Chinese are so cruel, remember that when India started to send patrols, when patrol was sent, police patrol, they were on the upper place. They killed 9 policemen, arrested rest of them, and then they wouldn't return the bodies. They finally returned the bodies on Prime Minister Nehru's birthday, as though that was a gift to the Prime Minister. He did not celebrate his birthday that year.
So do you remember the year, exact year?
I've forgotten at the moment.
It's okay, sir.
You will find it out. Sure. But I'll just go further on in the sense that let me come to the last days of Nehru and how fond he was of the Dalai Lama.
Yes.
You see, after 1962 war, which broke him in many ways, because he didn't expect that war, and Indian army had been defeated. He was taken aback because he had done so much for China. He had been criticized why he was doing so much for China and introducing Chou Enlai to the world. World was not accepting China at that time. I remember few days before his death, he held a press conference, I think 5 days before his death. He held a press conference, 64, and to talk about various things, and he was trying to sort out, he didn't want to leave many problems, because he certainly found himself that he could be leaving behind too many problems for other people, for Indian people to solve. Yes. Not only the question of Tibet, but Kashmir, other things. And he had tried to send another person to Pakistan to try and sort that out. And 5 days before his death in 1964, I was there at his house. After the press conference, he came there, and Dalai Lama was waiting in the rear garden. Panditji had already had a stroke, so his left side was weak. So Panditji came to meet Dalai Lama because he felt guilty about Dalai Lama also, that he had promised him and he could do nothing about him, and he was there. So Dalai Lama held him from the left side, and I can still remember how the two walked in the back garden talking, and I couldn't, of course, go go behind them. And I still remember in my mind and view the film which I did at that time, how Dalai Lama held him by the left side and they were talked about. What they talked is only known to His Holiness. You can ask him. And that was it. And 5 days later, Panditji died.
And sir, you have seen the development of Tibetan government in exile in India, right, from 1959 to the present day. So when you look back right from scratch, so how do you look at Tibetan community in India?
Tibetan community in India is now part of India. It's not a Tibetan community. They are as much Indians as, because they're Indian nationals now, isn't it? There's a big community in Karnataka, the big center there also. So they are part of India now. They have always been part of India, let's face it like that.
Yes, sir. And sir, another question that I would like to ask you is, there are many people in India, including leaders and scholars, they are actually asking the government of India to confer Bharat Ratna on His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. So what do you think about it?
Well, I can't really think much about it in the sense that he is far above all this. He is far, far above Bharat Ratna. What is Bharat Ratna? He is more than Bharat Ratna for Indian people. Remember that.
So before we conclude, I would like to ask a very simple question. So when you look back to 1959, you covered that very important escape from Tibet, and you also filmed that very iconic video that we still can have. We see it every day. So how do you look at your career, and how do you rate that coverage in your career?
In the sense that my career, I explained in my book, my 70 years as a journalist. Now, a journalist cannot say anything about his own career, how he rates it. No. It's not for me to judge how good or how bad I was. It's for other people to judge whether I was good or I was bad. So it's for you to judge. It's for other people to judge. So, but whatever I did honestly, truthfully, and presented it to the people.
Is any message to today's journalists in India?
Well, what message I can give other than be truthful, go in the field, report honestly. That's the only message.
And sir, thank you so much for giving us this wonderful time. And sir, one last message to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, because he turned 90 this year, younger than you yourself. So what is your message?
Your Holiness, I present my highest regards to you. I am your most faithful servant, and I hope you not only live much longer for people of Tibet, but for people of India, because you are the holiest of holy persons that India has the honor to host.
That is a wonderful message. Thank you so much, sir. It really means a lot to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.